Greetings, North Jersey Country Club. Brian Mackey here for the first pro tip of 2025. Want to wish everybody a happy and very healthy new year. We're excited to get going. So we're here to talk about two things. First tip of 2025, we're going to go over two things. Real quick body drill, so we understand how to practice in our living room or at the simulator, something we can do to kind of understand that the body is moving in the golf swing and how to do that properly. And also, we're going to do a fun little experiment with a golf club and a tee to see where the golf club should be in our swings at all times. Let's go take a look on how to get that done. So in part one of our pro tip, we are understanding that two things must take place when we're getting ready to hit a golf shot. The body has to move and the club has to move. So part one is the body moving. So how can we go ahead and practice the proper motion? All you're going to need is a golf club, an alignment rod, a broomstick, something of some length, and a flat surface, i.e. a wall. So here I am, I back up against the wall and I put my driver right across the top there, collarbone area. What I'm going to do is take one step forward and get into golf posture. I feel my hips hinge forward, my back pockets are going to go up, and my chest is going to come forward. At this point, what I'd like to feel is my head staying very centered, and I'm going to start to turn my body until the grip end or the front part of the object you're using points forward and slightly down. Okay, depending upon what object you're using, you might even feel the back part of your training aid hit the wall. That's good. That means you're making a good turn. And what we're going to do now is push ourselves forward into our lead side and rotate that object around our head and point back in front here. Big part of it is keeping the head nice and centered, okay? So again, as I make this motion, if I don't see this side of my driver moving back, I am doing too much sliding. You can see there's no rotation, no good. I'd like to feel that driver head working back until it touches the wall. And then you can see the front end slightly down and forward. And now I'm gonna push and let my body unwind, come around my head, and nice and forward this way. That is what the body is doing in the golf swing. You'll feel some pressure exchange between your feet, you'll feel some rotation, okay, and you'll feel yourself staying in your posture. Really good exercise to be doing, especially during the off season as you get ready to hit some golf balls. In part two of our pro tip, we are now talking about the second part of what is taking place in a golf shot. So we've already gone over a drill to talk about the motion of the body in a way that we can practice and make sure that we're getting good feedback in doing that. And now let's understand what the club is doing in the golf swing so that we can be efficient. Granted, everybody swings the club differently, different thoughts, and that's good. But in order for the club to return to the ball, we need a couple of things to line up. And here's a really good, simple thought process to go through when returning the club to the golf ball. So I have a little training aid here. I've stuck a tee in the bottom of my golf club and I crazy glued a ball to the end of it. Why are we doing that? Well, if we can understand where the handle of the club is pointing during the swing, we'll have a better understanding of where the club head is. So as I set up to this golf shot, I'm going to go ahead and stage myself to the ball. And what I understand here is that the golf ball at the end of my club or the end of my grip is pointing at my belt buckle, somewhere around that area. As I take the club back away using the motion that we practiced earlier, we need to understand where the club is. A lot of people will go ahead and take the club, what we call going inside. Now, as you see the club go inside, what do you notice about the golf ball sticking out of the base of my club? It starts pointing away from the target and away from the ball down here, away from the target line. So what happens here is the club goes in, and now all of a sudden we have this motion where we feel the club come back over, and again, now the ball is pointing over here. So you can see there's a lot of motion in the golf club. Makes it difficult to get it back to the golf ball. Here's another one that's very common. People will lift their hands and arms away, and now the golf ball is pointing way over here, left of my target, and again, not down at the object I'm trying to hit. So let's not focus so much on what not to do, let's focus on what we should be doing. As we make our turn away, I want to focus on making sure that the handle of my club is now pointing down at my target line. So you can see the golf ball attached to the end of my club is pointing directly at the target line and or the ball that's on the ground here. This is a very fundamentally sound position, and we're just going to play connect the dots from this point. We want to feel the bottom of our club work back towards the ball, where we then go ahead and release our club right into the ball. Why are we doing this? It makes a very efficient and simple motion towards the golf ball. And we're referring to the club. This is what the club is doing in our swing. We take it back. We focus on where the handle is pointing. We do not want the bottom pointing over there, and we certainly don't want it pointing over here. We get that flying elbow and the club pointing across the line. Once the handle of that club matches our target line, we are in a great spot.